What do you want? What do you want? Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. Man, that's like that's a scene from one of my favorite movies called The Notebook. Yeah, man, I'm into them type of movies, homie. I like them little, like, you know, lovey-dovey type of love drama movies and stuff like that. They're interesting. So sue me, bro. Anyways, I got some chess for you, homie. I'm feeling like 5% better. I just hope I don't start coughing, because that's the only thing that really bothers me. And then my voice kind of sounds a little bit hoarse. So, I mean, you got to forgive me on that. But anyways, I appreciate everybody very much for watching my video yesterday, for sure. That's the most views I've gotten in quite a while. So, man, I appreciate everybody. Anybody who is new to my channel, welcome. You know, bienvenidos. Maligi Young, welcome. All of that good stuff. Bienvenue, anything. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys very much. This is the final game that Wesley So and Hikaru Nakamura played with each other. So this is for all the marbles. I mean, it was, you know, it didn't have to be the last game, but it ended up being the last game that they played with each other, because if they had tied this game, which they didn't, somebody won, then they would have went into an Armageddon type situation, and they didn't do that. But all my people coming from the Philippines, I will say mabuhay to you. Kamusta na aking magkaibigan. Maligi Young pagdating sa my chest, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are ready to go, homie. Let's take a look and see what we got for this game, son. Knight to F3. The worst move. No, I'm playing. You guys are like, wait a minute, the worst move. It's not the worst move. It isn't. It's one of the best moves. It's kind of like a little bit of a waiting move. It's not specific. It's a ready. It's not specifically like any type of an opening. It's just kind of like, you know, what are you going to do as black? So we got the move D5. Definitely one of the strongest replies. You know, you have a lot of options. You got C5, D5, you know, E6, Knight F6. I mean, you have all kinds of options. You know, you can play a lot. We do see the move E3. We got Knight to F6. We got C4. We got the move E6. And Hikaru Nakamura does decline to go this way. But as you guys probably are aware, any of those that play D4, you see that this is literally one step away from being a Queen's Gambit declined. Going into these types of lines right here, which I get into this a lot myself. I'm a D4 guy. You know, I like D4. It's pretty cool. Anyways, we do see the move B3 in this position. So this is kind of like a Reti, like slash Nimzo Larson type situation going on. So, you know, we are going to fee and kettle this bishop on this gigantically long diagonal here. A1 to H8. We got bishop to E7, bishop to B2. Castles, knight to C3. We got C5. And Wesley So is kind of doing like a phantom type of attack situation. He's attacking an imaginary D4 pawn. But I mean, most likely, Hikaru Nakamura is delaying it like literally as long as possible. But 99% of the time, you're going to be seeing D4 at some point. It's literally been like offered as like the best move for like at least like 4 or 5 moves. So it's like, bro, you know, like, are we going to play D4 at some point? Like, what are we doing? Anyways. So we do see pawn taking D5, pawn taking D5. We got rook over to C1. Now, they did play a game before where, you know, we did see D4 in this position. They went into some other lines. That game ended in a draw. So it brought us to where we're at now. But we do see rook to C1, and we actually have the novelty of the game. D4, which probably seems kind of strange to you because you're thinking, okay, if white is just not going to push D4, then why don't I push D4? It's definitely a move in this position. I mean, it's like, why not attack in the center? I mean, basically, if white continues to neglect D4, is going to be kind of cramping their position up just a little bit. So, I mean, you kind of want to do a little something, something. So D4 comes. And we're asking Hikaru, I mean, where you want to put your knight? The crazy thing is, like, literally without pause, he goes knight to A4. He's like, bro, I'm seeing this position. So he must have looked at this position at some point, like in the hours between them playing these games, and was like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and just go for this line and stuff. So that's what we see. Putting a little bit of pressure on the C5 pawn, but I mean, it's really easily protected with the move B6, which we will be seeing. But first, we see pawn taking E3, F pawn taking E3. Now, the one thing I will say about the situation right here is, you know, 9 times out of 10, you know, whenever you're not fully developed on the queen side, you do kind of have to worry about trading queens and causing your king to have to step over and then not castling and things like that. But in this particular situation, because we have developed all of our stuff over here, this rook does have the ability to take back on this queen. So you're not really worried about anything. It's kind of similar to this position. So if we did see pawn taking E3, which was definitely like the preferred capture back. You know, we're looking at queen takes d1, and it's not a problem because, like I said, rook takes d1, and we're all good. Same thing with black. I mean, if instead of queen takes d1, we got pawn taking e3, and then we did see, let's say, knight c6 for black. You got queen taking d8, rook taking d8. You see that neither side really got inconvenienced. Like they both can, or I mean, black's already castled, but you see that white is, you know, they still can castle. They're good to go. So, I mean, that's definitely something that we could have seen, but we didn't see that. Like I said, we did see pawn, f pawn taking e3. And then, like I said, we do have b6. Just making sure, I mean, you're not just going to grab my pawn, homie. Like, what are you talking about? So we got bishop to e2. We got knight to d5, and this is what I will say about this move, knight to d5. Now, for those of you who either have seen my videos or seen like other chess videos or just like kind of have a basic understanding of chess, you know, so we've already castled kingside and we've already developed our kingside pieces. So what now do we really need to do? Like on a fundamental level, we need to develop our other pieces, right? So it's kind of like, you know, like this knight, this bishop, this rook. We got to kind of find some homes for them because, I mean, you know, you want to be developing all of your pieces and then going on some type of attack and stuff like that. So it's really not advisable from a fundamental standpoint, a principle standpoint, to move the same piece twice. So it does kind of reduce, Wesley So's advantage just a little bit. And it's just one of those subtle things. It's not like now he's losing or something. But he has made the game a lot closer than it would have been before, just developing naturally. So it's just those little things. Sometimes they add up over the course of a game and then you lose. I mean, so, you know, you got to be kind of careful. But it does have a very clear idea behind it. At some point, he's wanting to go bishop to f6 and contest this bishop because this is a nice bishop, like I said. So, I mean, there's definitely, that's why it wasn't like a blender or like a mistake or something. It was just kind of like, you know, like let's get developed further first before we start moving other pieces twice. Some positions you move twice, you move multiple, like a piece multiple times, and then, I mean, you're just lost. So be careful, bro. So we do see castles by white. We got knight to c6. And you see that Wesley So starts to accelerate his development now. We got knight to c6, queen over to e1, bishop to b7. And then, I mean, like I said, so, I mean, the position is actually really good. I mean, you know, Hikaru has like a slight advantage. It's not like completely winning or anything, but, you know, like it's just a little something, something. But, I mean, black has definitely done what they need to do now to make sure they got their pieces good. And, I mean, you know, this knight is a little bit like, hey, what you doing over here, bro? Type situation, though. It can get like that. So we got queen over to g3, you know, and we're like, basically, it's like, bro, let's just checkmate in one because I want to win and go home, right? Wesley So's like, bro, no. So bishop goes to f6. We got bishop taking f6, and then we have a knight taking f6. And backing up. As white, instead of taking on f6, which was definitely one of the moves, something else, just to hold attention and also thinking about improving your knight, like I was mentioning before, this knight on the rim over here, was actually bishop to c4. You're improving the bishop. The bishop wasn't really doing a lot on this diagonal. It's doing much more on this diagonal. You know, you are still keeping this tension with the bishop. So if the bishop does trade like this, you got the knight starting to kind of come back into the game. I mean, you know, you can start to come over here and, you know, you got double knights coming up in the center. So it's just kind of a way for you to try to make some little improvements in your own position. But we didn't see that, like I said. We did see bishop f6, taking f6. And then we saw knight taking f6, so just backing the knight up. You know, nothing really to see here. We got knight back to c3, so we now have finally solved that one situation. So as you can see, both sides are pretty much done what they need to do. And we see a move by Wesley. So it definitely has like some logic behind it. Bishop does have the ability to kind of open up on this diagonal. We're not attacking anything specific, but we are thinking about maybe possibly, you know, dumping our knight down into the d3 square, you know, blockading this pawn and stuff like that. That might be some ideas. So I ask you a question in this position. This isn't going to be like a guess the move. I'm going to give you a move and I want you to do your calculation to estimate if this is a good move. And I'll give you like a point to the move. So the move is actually d4. I won't place it on the board. I'll allow you to calculate. So the move d4, right? The only thing that I want you to kind of consider with the move d4 is, of course, you're thinking about there's going to be trades on d4, right? But, and I mean, of course, when this queen comes down and captures on this square at some point, if it does, you do have this check right here. The most important thing I think that you have to calculate when d4 does show up on the position as black is bishop taking f3. That's definitely one of the moves. So, like I said, if you want to go ahead and pause the video, play d4 in your mind and think, Is D4 a good move for white to play, or is it not? Okay, so I think we have two camps of people. I think we have the first camp of people that were like, okay, and they're imagining this. D4, okay, bishop takes, and then there's takes, queen takes as check, and then that's just losing a pawn. I think this is what some people might have imagined in their mind, right? And if we back up in the situation after initially D4, we have another camp of people that decided, okay, D4, there's pawn takes, and then there's knight takes, because they were calculating that when bishop takes, the bishop takes back, and then before you can do all these trades in the center, we got the bishop looking at this rook like, what do you want to do with your life? And there's not a chance for you to lose a pawn in the center of the board. So there's just kind of like one more step that you need to calculate. So if you did say that D4 was a good move for white, then you would be absolutely correct, because you did have this nice Zwischenzug move with bishop taking F3, and it doesn't quite 100% work, so it doesn't win a pawn. And then the other one, there's just a slight hole in kind of the way you were calculating. But do not fret, because you can always make improvements. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, when you have holes in your calculation, you need to work on some more tactics. So, I mean, don't fear. There's still more work that you can put down, and I believe in you, homie. So anyways, going back to what we had in the actual game. Knight did go to B4. We didn't see any of that. It's like, so that was just a sideline that I kind of took you down. What we saw was knight to E5. And this, unfortunately, is setting a trap for Wesley So. I'm not sure how many of you can actually see the trap. I'll give you a couple seconds. This isn't a guess the move or anything, but so Hikaru Nakamura is baiting Wesley So into taking this D2 pawn. It really looks kind of juicy, right? You're like, oh man, that D2 pawn, like, I mean, it looks good. Like, I can escape the B2, right? Well, there's actually a problem with that. And it is actually something, unfortunately, that Wesley So falls directly into. He was kind of saying that he was like a little bit tired, and he just kind of was just like, whatever, I'll take a pawn, and if I lose, I lose. Like, I'm kind of tired of playing. He's been playing for like 9 days straight, so I mean, it's understandable. So he actually does take the pawn, and the crazy thing was, like, leading up to this move, like, as Wesley So is thinking, the commentators were going through and calculating, and I mean, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, you can't take that D2 pawn, because, like, you'll get trapped. Like, rook comes over to D1, and then there's no escaping back that way, and they're going through and they're like, okay, when the queen goes to B2, there's knight to C4, and that's literally what it is. So after rook F comes to D1, you kind of see the realization that, this wasn't right. And then after the queen goes to B2, we got knight to C4, and it is in this position that Wesley So resigns. And unfortunately, he allows Hikaru Nakamura to be the American Cup champion. And it was really crazy because Wesley So played some really fantastic games, but there was always that little like point where he was like able to allow Hikaru Nakamura to climb back into the game and either get a draw or, like just let him off the hook completely. So, there's going to be one day that, Wesley So is going to be like, just completely just tearing the whole board up or whatever, no matter who you are, because he has the capabilities. But I mean, you can't burn yourself out, though. I think that's one of the things that he kind of did right now is he just kind of played too much chess, and it like I think that's really stressful, man. So hopefully he gets some rest and he comes back fresh and he plays some other tournaments and he's good to go, man. But this was just, I mean, Hikaru's day, really. They both played some really good chess these past couple of days. So, it was really nice to see this type of chess. So, I mean, I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. Like I said, I appreciate you guys very much for watching my video yesterday. I got some good subscribers, so welcome to everybody that's new. Hope to get a whole lot more. Welcome to all those people, too. I appreciate you guys. Meron means salamat, aking makaibigan. Makito tayo mamaya, and I'll see you guys next time.